of transgender and homosexuality in the law in certain Commonwealth countries. But on the eve of the heads of government meeting, obviously the big issue in the world has been the UK, French, US strikes on Syria. Is that something the heads of government will discuss, do you think?
Well, we're going to be talking about towards a common future. And one of the issues we're looking at is security, because we're looking at fairness, we're looking at sustainability, we're looking at prosperity, and we're looking at security. So I should imagine that they will be concerned about all issues in relation to countering violent extremism. Last time we set up a countering violent extremism unit, and the Commonwealth Secretariat has been working hard on that. So I wouldn't be surprised. We're living in troubled and troubling times, and having 53 leaders coming to the United Kingdom to talk about those broad issues is, I think, a really good thing.
I mean, 53 leaders with divergent interests. Yeah. The Indian press, for example, however, has been reporting that because Prime Minister Modi has quite close relations with Putin, it'll be almost impossible for India to join in any statement that in some way criticises Syria.
Well, the great thing is that all the leaders get to talk about anything that they like, and they'll be concentrating, I should imagine, on the specific concerns between the 53 members of the Commonwealth. But as I say, it's an opportunity to talk about anything.
I mean, as a very liberal person yourself, what do you think about Tom Daley's point that too many, in his view, Commonwealth countries still criminalise gay people?
Well, one of the great things about our Commonwealth is under the Commonwealth Charter, we make an absolute commitment for equality for all of us.
But it's not put into practice in individual countries, which some people would say, therefore, what's the point of the Commonwealth?
No, it is. If you think about what we're doing it really practically. So, for instance, we've got 60% of our Commonwealth below the age of 30. A number of the networks from the youth have come to look at issues of LGBTI. We've created champions in parliaments. We're moving the agenda on, and we're walking with our countries. So this is something which has been challenged.
Sorry to press you on this. Is there any evidence that the Commonwealth has actually succeeded in
there
getting
is.
the law changed on this issue?
Yes, there is. If you look at what we've done in Belize, for example, where the law has been changed. We've changed the law in the Seychelles, and a number of the countries who were in a different position have moved on, and we're working with others.
And what about Africa, where this problem is perceived to be worst? How confident are you? How hopeful are you that you can see change there?
Well, I am hopeful because we have had, as I've just mentioned, the parliamentary champions in a number of those parliaments who are raising the issues, who are walking with people, and the position is changing. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But if you look at all of our commitments, there is no country who has perfection, but we are walking in the same direction. That's what matters, and the Commonwealth is there encouraging, enabling, supporting. And there is an economic case for equality. If you look at what's happened with the WTO and the fact that we have increased world trade in the last year, when you looked at the countries who had done best, they were the ones who had invested in human capital. And we can't afford to waste any of our human capital for women, for men, for gay, for straight. We need all of us if we're going to be truly prosperous.
Now, many people would say that what binds the Commonwealth together is Her Majesty the Queen. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but Jeremy Corbyn on Mar just now said, you know, there will come a moment when, for obvious reasons, she can't be head of the Commonwealth anymore, and he thinks that there should then be a rotating head of the Commonwealth, rather than it simply falling to her son, Prince Charles. What's your view on that?
Well, the first thing to say is the Queen is a hugely emblematic expression of the Commonwealth, but it is not the only thing that binds us. What binds us is our principles, our values. If you look at the difference between, for instance, the Commonwealth and the EU, we didn't come together as an economic bloc. We came together because of our values, because of our opportunities and our history. And that's what binds the Commonwealth. And the new Commonwealth is focusing on our commitment in relation to the rule of law, the fact that we have 2.4 billion people all speaking the same language, having the same rules. That's what binds us.
But let's be clear, people would want to know, because of the great symbolic importance of the Commonwealth to Britain, do you think that ultimately Commonwealth leaders will simply decide that Prince Charles should succeed?
Do you know what's really great? The 53 heads of government are the heads, and
Right.
they will make a decision in whatever way they determine, and it won't be...
Do you think it'll happen this week that they'll make that decision?
You know what? It's great. I have no
Really?
idea. I have no idea. But if...
Do you have a personal... I mean, are you allowed to have a personal preference as Secretary-General?
What's really brilliant is being the servant and not the master.
So you're not allowed to tell us whether you think it should be Charles or for example, the Corbyn idea of rotating?
We have to wait and see. It's literally 53 heads will get together next week and they'll have a discussion and decide whatever they like.
Can I ask one final question? Because it relates to what Allegra said at the beginning. This government has talked about the great opportunities of trading with the Commonwealth. Now, a lot of Commonwealth countries, when we joined the EU, were a bit bitter that we joined the EU because we turned our back on trade with them then. Is there a bit of schadenfreude around,
No.
do you think? A bit of sort of, you know, well, they need us now, but I'm not sure we need
absolutely
the
not,
UK.
because if you look at what we've just done, we've had 2 trade reviews, and they've identified that there's a 19% advantage in us trading with each other because of our common law, because of our interests. And we are now representing 20% of the trade. We hope that by 2020, we may have improved to 1 trillion trade. And you have to understand, trade's going east. If you look at where we were 20 years ago, it was west. Now it's going east. The new continental free trade area in Africa, the WTO's new position, Commonwealth is where it's at.
Patricia, Scotland, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have an enjoyable week.